space. I'm charging my
Ah,
computer. It's perfect. Let's have this
ah, if,
real conversation.
wait,
Okay.
if you don't, I'm sorry, please go ahead, certainly.
Yeah, let's start. Let's introduce yourself, Andy. You are one of the key stars in this whole movement, and I remember back in 2022 we started to connect, and yeah, you've been really holding the space for community, for these conversations. Now this epic chat. Tell about yourself. How did you get into the space, and what brought you there, and why are you here? And
Thank you.
yeah.
Well, so wow, it's a bit of a story. It goes. Here's the easy version. The easy version is that when I was really little, I got involved with coin and stamp collecting. Right, so numismatics, philately, and I would look up where a lot of these different coins and stamps came from, and I would just devour different reference books just to try to understand where these places where is Suriname and where is Upper Volta, now Burkina Faso, and where how do people live there, and what why are they at a certain level versus Belgium or versus Canada? And I was trying to piece these things together at a young age. And so fast forwarding, there was a an ad in the Economist magazine at the when the print version of the Economist magazine, and someone had published in the classified section an ad with a quote from Ayn Rand to the effect of, "What if you had dropped 1,000 free market people on an island? What would it look like?" And this company was called Laissez Faire City, and they were soliciting governments to negotiate with to try and set up a city or a new country. This was in the 90s. And so they had received calls from Peru and Costa Rica and a few other places. And I had made contact with them, right? The commercial internet was still somewhat new. And I made contact with them, and I was excited to know that I wasn't alone in having these ideas and these thoughts about what if there was a better way? What if there was another way of doing things, having a clean slate, a fresh start? And so, let's say Fair City didn't quite get off on and didn't become a big success. But what it did do was it did reinforce that in me. And so I followed lots of different attempts. There was also one called Oceana. I think their website is still up, oceana.org. And they were, before there was seasteading, before the Seasteading Institute, there was Oceana. And there had been many different people that had tried to colonize the oceans and the seas. And so I was involved a bit with that particular endeavor. And yeah, and there was the Free Nation group as well. This is the early 2000s. So I've had a long interest in this, and I didn't realize that I wasn't alone. Now, some of this stuff was a little bit difficult after September 11th because there was this whole hysteria and paranoia about terrorism, and you're either with us or you're with the terrorists. So a lot of these types of ideas stayed, I don't want to say underground, but they weren't so popularized. And so there was that. I didn't know about the Seasteading Institute. I didn't know about a lot of different attempts in the 20 teens. I later came more of age, if you will, with BitNation around 2015, 16 or so. That was the big one that grabbed my attention. And so, fast forwarding, there was a woman by the name of Joyce Brand. I think maybe you know her, or you were on a webinar with her once with Varum Evasion. Yes. Yeah, and Joyce, I'd hooked up with her on LinkedIn a number of years ago. It was real simple. What I'd done was I hired someone off of Fiverr to find other libertarians on LinkedIn, and I had this whole big spreadsheet of different libertarians, and I had contacted Joyce, and Joyce and I became connected on LinkedIn. She asked me if I had Telegram. I said, yeah, sure. And she said, well, there's some groups you should check out.